Keep your umbrella handy. Casey, thank you. This weekend's severe storm could be an opportunity for Los Angeles. The massive downpour is a chance for LA to capture stormwater that could combat the next drought.
And if you didn't know, your tax dollars are already at work. This is through Measure W, but advocates say that we could be doing much more. So joining us to explain is Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy's Climate Campaign Co-Director, Ahkiam. Good morning to you, and thank you for being here on a Saturday.
Thank you guys so much for covering this important issue.
Ready for the storm? That is the big question that so many people have, and they're asking themselves, am I ready for the storm?
Right.
You know, one of the words that describes Los Angeles, a coastal desert. So why is it, you hear desert, you think, yeah, it needs water. Why is it when water hits our region, it's such an issue?
Right, so we tried to deal with that water before by paving everything so that we could get the water away from us as quickly as possible. And so what we're seeing is now the rains are so intense that you have water flooding certain areas, and then at the same time we're wasting a lot of that rainwater that we could be saving for the hot, dry months for our droughts, and it's just going straight into the ocean.
So you talked about wasting water and going into the ocean versus capturing it and using it in some way. Is LA doing enough to reserve drinkable water, potable water following storms, and what more do you think needs to be done?
We've made a really good start, thanks to voters, like you said, with Measure W. That is helping us fund projects that are the solution to a lot of these things so that we can bring more green space and shade for those hot months and be holding on to and cleaning that stormwater so that it's not flooding our neighborhoods, it's not whisked away into the ocean, but we're building more specially designed parks, we're building more places where the water can sink in, and we're doing it in a way that's creating good jobs and bringing more amenities to communities thanks to this measure and to voters' support.
Yeah, and can you even elaborate on Measure W? We throw it out there, but maybe people haven't learned even more about that. And how is it that we're continuing to contribute? And why is that so important?
Absolutely. So we know the solution's right, but before we didn't have really any way to pay for them. And thanks to Measure W that voters approved in 2018, we now have a start to the resources to build the kind of projects we need and to build them in ways that are really investing in the communities and helping us to solve this big problem.
And your organization has helped create stormwater capture solutions, including specially designed parks. So tell us about them and the climate conscious techniques that are being used. And just to be clear, you say these are good because the water seeps into the ground. Does that mean it gets into the groundwater?
Exactly.
Okay.
So before, when it's pavement, it's just getting whisked away. With these projects, the water actually has time and the open space to sink in. So you have projects that great applicants have developed, like Echo Park Lake, Machado Lake. You have Dominguez Gap wetlands. You have restoring wetlands in other communities, building parks like the South LA wetlands, where the water can, instead of going into the ocean, go into these projects, sink in, be stored sometimes in tanks, sometimes by filtering into the groundwater, so that we don't have to import so much water. We can actually hang on to our stormwater and use it in the future and clean it up at the same time. Right.
Climate conscious, and that's important for people to try to adopt. Can you expand on that? Why is that so important?
Absolutely. So like we were saying, the rains are getting more and more intense, the droughts are getting more and more intense, and so people can also do things. They're already contributing through Measure W to help solve the problem. There's other things they can do at home, obviously, to save water, to even change up where they live to be able to let more water sink in your home. And they can help support more of these projects getting built by getting involved locally.
And the projects that you are involved in, your organization, are they those ones you mentioned, Echo Park Lake and some of those? Or in what parks are you guys involved in, and what do you do in those?
Yeah, so we work with a lot of other community groups, with labor groups, to advocate for these projects, to make sure that they're moving forward, to make sure that they have the resources that they need to get built, to make sure we're keeping our foot pedal to the metal to build out the projects that we need to build. And so that's something that we can always use more voices to say, yes, we've got the solutions, we can move forward, we can do this, let's do it.
I think it's always right. We have a storm on the brink right now. What are some things that people can do in this moment, people can prepare for as we head into the storm?
Any ways to capture water maybe at their own home?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's, they can do as simple as putting out buckets or, and pails to capture some of that water. They can prepare for the next storm with rain barrels or even cisterns. They can get resources from DWP or the Metropolitan Water District to redo their yards if they're homeowners, to be able to hold on to some of that water. And of course, we want to make sure, like y'all have been really good about saying, to not drive when you can't see the road. That's one of the most important things. If the water is so deep you can't see the road, don't drive that way.
Turn around, don't drown. That's
yeah, exactly.
The cliche we always repeat.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more on the work of the Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy, all you have to do is visit LAANE.org. Thank you.
We'll be right back.